Kenny's Yacht Maintenance, welcome back. Today we have a project where we're gonna be stripping all the finish on this fishing chair. This is for a spot fisher, and as you could see, it's made it time. There's blisters everywhere on this fishing chair, and we're gonna strip all the varnish off and prep the wood really good and refinish it, restore it, make it brand new again. So we're gonna be using a heat gun to burn off all the varnish, and after the heat gun we will be using paint stripper to extract all that varnish from the grain, then prep the wood and apply sealer, and I will show you step by step how it's being done. So what I'm doing is softening the varnish, and as you see, the varnish will be bubbling. I had the heat gun probably about 4 inches away from the surface, and as the varnish is bubbling, I'm using my scraper and I'm just pulling off the burnt varnish. If you leave your heat gun in one area for too long, you're definitely gonna be burning the wood, leaving that black spot in the wood. So you don't want that. So this heat gun is actually burning off all the finish, and as you see, I have the heat gun sometimes up to 6 inches away from the surface. That's to prevent any burning. And you could, so it's important that your scraper is pretty sharp and it's flat, sitting flat. You don't want to put edges in there, because then you have to try to sand off the edges. It's also important to note I'm in a well ventilated area, and I'm not wearing a mask. I probably should be wearing at least a dust mask, but I'm well ventilated. I also got a blower here. It's blowing air, and it's windy today, so that's the reason I'm being a little careless not to have at least a dust mask. But most times, especially if you're indoors, you should wear a respirator when stripping any kind of finish, any paint finish. Now we have everything stripped. All the varnish has been stripped off using a heat gun. This is the draw set. This is the rocket launcher. This is the footrest. Here we have the step box and the seat itself, the fishing chair. This is just another piece for it. And the next step will be to use chemical paint stripper to extract all the old varnish from the grain. Continuation with this seat, this fighting chair that I'm working on. All the varnish is stripped off using a heat gun. Now we're in the process of using chemical paint stripper, and this is gonna extract all the old varnish from the grain of the wood. So this is how it's done. First of all, safety first. Please wear gloves. It's important also to have some eyewear, and this, you don't want this thing on your skin at all. So I use a cup. As you could see, it's very thick, and I use a disposable brush, and basically we're just gonna brush it on. Just brush it on evenly everywhere. Just brush it on, cover the entire surface. As long as you get it covered, that's all. Just get it on the surface, and what it is gonna do is burn off all the varnish extracted from the grain of the wood. Just get it covered everywhere. There's different kinds of strippers, but this is one that works well, so I like this one. So it's been a few minutes since I applied the chemical paint stripper to this piece of wood, and now we're gonna bronze it. As part of safety, always ensure that you're in a very well ventilated area when using those products, because those products does have a fume to them. I'm in the open behind my workshop. I'm in the exterior. I also have a fan going, so I think I'm in a good environment. So now we're gonna use this bronze wool and bronze all that old varnish out of the wood. And this is how it's done. You put some strength to it. You don't want to go across the grain, you know, just look at that. You don't want to do that. You really want to go with the grain of the wood. And in a sense, doing this also pre-sand the wood as well. So when come for sanding, it makes it much more easier to sand. This is just one of the way of doing this thing, by doing it dry. There's another way to do it by doing it wet, and I must demonstrate what doing it wet means. But if I'm on a boat, this chemical stripper is active. So if this falls, even the dust from this falls on the paint, if you're doing this on a deck, it's gonna burn the paint. So if I'm on a boat and I'm doing this, you gotta have your vacuum close by, so you could vacuum as soon as, because if it gets wet and it's on the deck, it activates and it's gonna burn the paint. But I'm doing this out in the open, there's no reason for that. The other way to do this thing is apply the paint stripper, and then with using a hose, you could bronze this thing and use a hose with fresh water, so the fresh water is always running off. So I will do the other side of that by doing it wet. This side I'm doing it dry. So there's two ways to do it. So basically this side is done and this side is ready for sandpaper. We're gonna use 80 grit sandpaper, and after the 80 grit 120 or 150 sandpaper, and then it's ready for sealer. So stay tuned.
Kenny's Yacht Maintenance at the National Society of Black Engineers in Chicago, where we're in the business of working smarter, not harder. Please like, share, and subscribe.
This is the back side of the footrest, and I'm gonna apply the paint stripper, and I'm gonna show you the other way of doing this thing, what I mean by doing it wet. Few minutes since I applied the stripper, and now I'm gonna do it the other way of doing this thing by using water while bronzing it. It's a faster way. So this is how we do it. Small amount of water, and we just bronzing it while it's wet. Just small amounts of water, and it's a faster way of doing it. Just a little more messy. But check this out. You rinse it off. And all the varnish is off the grain of the wood. All the varnish is off. As long as you rinse it off completely. So today we are sanding all the pieces with 80 grit sandpaper followed by 120 grit sandpaper, so we will be able to seal it after that. So we are sanding by hand. We are not using a machine because there's uneven surface here, so I gotta be able to sand in between all the uneven surface. So we're doing everything by hand with 80 grit sandpaper followed by 120 grit sandpaper, and we will show you the steps. So it's important to go with the grain. Do not go across the grain. We want to go with the grain so we hide all the sandpaper scratches. Now we are using 150 grit sandpaper after the 80. Take a close up to what it look like. Going with the grain. Going with the grain. This is 150 grit sandpaper. Make sure we get rid of any scratches that might be in there, any scraper marks. We're getting rid of it, and after the 150 we're gonna clean everything up and this will be ready for sealer. So stay tuned. All those are ready for sealer.
Kenny's Yacht Maintenance at the Boston Women's Memorial, where we are in the business of working smarter, not harder.
So welcome back. We're gonna be using West System as our sealer, and I'm gonna be thinning out the West System like 30-35%, so it serves as a penetrating sealer and will seal the wood, penetrate the wood and seal the wood. And after that I'm gonna build up using West System with the special hardener. So here we go. I'm gonna put 5 pumps for now. Five to 5, and I'm gonna stir this up. Make sure it's well stirred. So it's very thick. So for bare wood, you don't want to put this on the bare wood. It's not gonna seal the wood. It's just gonna sit on top of the wood. So I'm gonna reduce it by about 30, guesstimate 35% of the volume. I'm using a disposable brush, and as you could see, it's runny, but it's gonna serve as a penetrating sealer, and it's gonna just soak right into the wood. And look at the rich color it's giving this thing. just soaking in right in the wood, and it's gonna seal the wood. And look at the rich color, natural color of the wood. Right. This is the day after, and the sealer coat is all dried, so we're gonna be sanding using 320 grit sandpaper, and we'll be sanding all of those so we could start building up coats. So stay tuned. Kenny's Yacht Maintenance. Alright, right now we are using some denatured alcohol and wiping the surface so we could get it ready to apply some waste system as my build-up. Using a microfiber rag and just wiping all the surface. After that we will use a tack rag. Stay tuned. Now we're using a tack rag and just wiping the surface for dust. So we're using the waste system epoxy resin with the special hardener, and we're gonna get a coat on. It's all stirred up already and ready to go. We're using a disposable brush and it's working pretty well. You could cut it. We got a coat on all pieces, so tomorrow I will flip the other side and get a coat on. But check this out, the grain are already filled with one coat of sealer, and this is just the first coat of waste system. Now this process that I just showed you, where we apply a coat of waste system for build up, we have to repeat that process another second time, sand, clean, and apply another coat of waste system. So in the interest of time, I'm not gonna show the entire process. So all my pieces has been sanded with 320 grit sandpaper and washed down with soap and water and wiped down with denatured alcohol, then a tack rag, and we're ready to apply the second coat of waste system. So stay tuned. This is the second coat on, and we will sand next week. And welcome back. We're getting ready to spray some Alexseal top coat, 501 top coat, and we're using the Alexseal gloss. We're gonna be spraying, so we're gonna be using the spray converter, and we're not taking any chance with the weather. We're gonna be using the fast reducer. So we're gonna mix everything up and stay tuned.
Kenny's Yacht Maintenance at the National Society of Black Engineers Conference in Chicago, where we're in the business of working smarter, not harder. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Here we are applying the clay so we could do the non-skid on the footrest and the two other pieces. Here we are spraying the non-skid particles into the wet paint and being very careful not to apply too much. Here we are applying a coat of clay as a sealer coat over the non-skid so that locks the non-skid in place. Then we will repeat that with a second coat of sealer over the non-skid, making the non-skid completely sealed off and well protected. At Kenny's Yacht Maintenance, we are licensed, insured, and certified all grip and Alexseal applicators. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is the finished product. This is the seat. Kenny's Yacht Maintenance, working smarter, not harder. Keep on keeping on.
From Massachusetts Institute of Technology, I am the proud product of Kenny's Yacht Maintenance, where we are in the business of working smarter, not harder. Please like, share, and subscribe.